Welcome to YMCA Classes for All. My name is Gaelle, and today we will be making Blan Manje. Blan Manje. White food in translation. There's actually a really fun story or just some history, a little bit of history in my research that I did, because this is a traditional Haitian dish. It's a dessert dish, and it's so yummy. It's filled with fruit. There's some coconut in there, of course. We have to have that West Indian flair, Feel free to follow along and do it with me, or do it later and just enjoy the video now. All right, so what you'll need is you're going to need Guys, I am so excited. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your condensed milk and pour it, your sweetened condensed milk. You're gonna pour it into here, all of it. We paid for this condensed milk, so we're gonna use all of it, right? I talked to my mom. I always talk to my mom when I'm about to, try a new Haitian recipe, because she probably has some cool fun facts about it or a cool fun story. It's a fun way of bonding with my mom. What? And she was telling me how she doesn't know where it comes from. I was like, what do you mean, Mom? Like, what do you mean you don't know where it comes from? Like, you grew up eating this stuff too, You're supposed to know everything, Mom. You're gonna grab your evaporated milk, and you're gonna pour that in there and mix it well together. And she told me that, it's something that she grew up eating, and she loves it. It's just so yummy. It's such a great recipe. And I'm like, well, I wanna know where Blan Manje comes from. I don't know how many Haitian people out there knows that. Well, probably somebody does. I'm not saying that just because I don't know, my mama don't know, doesn't mean everybody else don't know. And so we want to make sure it's like well blended too, so you can't tell apart the condensed milk and this milk. And then we're gonna grab our coconut milk and we're gonna pour that into there. And then it's gonna be 1 cup. Pour my 1 cup of coconut milk in here. So Blan Manje actually came, this is granted, when you read stuff on the internet, I think it's always good to take it with a grain of salt. But this is from my research. The articles I was reading was saying that white food originally came from way back then Persia, 13th century in Iran. So essentially it was made from chicken broth, and then they put chicken in there, they put fish, anything that was white, they put in there. They put flour, they put rice and or almonds, and then they would mix it all up together. And they would give it to people who were sick, and in hopes of that the people who were sick would get better and have more of an appetite to eat. Which is I was reading this and I was like, what? Chicken and Blan Manje? What? It doesn't make sense, because for me, Blan Manje is a dessert. It's filled with fruit, it's condensed milk, it's jelly-like, it's great. But here I was reading that there was chicken in it and all that stuff. And so something to know was that back then, people had a lot of spices in their food. And so for somebody who was feeling sick, it was a contrast of that. They would feed sick people Blan Manje. And so come around maybe 16th, 17th century, it ventures out to Europe. So this is all over Europe and people are doing this. And maybe it's becoming more gelatin-like. It's, changing. Different countries are doing their own little things with it. And in France, in the 17th century, this French chef changed it completely, made it more into a dessert. And of course, as we know, France occupied Haiti. They, they were in Haiti, and I, of course, there's a lot of cultural similarities because of time spent together, due to colonization, and so and we have Blan Manje today, guys. It's so cool. It's so interesting to see the evolution of a recipe, like something completely different. They had chicken up in there, fish, and it was something to help people who were sick. And it was white because they believed that white was, it was pure. It's a pure color. And so, but again, there's a lot of information out there on the internet. So I'm taking it with a grain of salt. But to me, to Gaelle, it makes sense. I can see how these things work. But yeah, look it up and maybe you'll find out more, or I don't know, if you want, that is. Cool. All right, continuing in our recipe. Now what we're going to do is we're gonna grab our almond extract. I couldn't find coconut extract, guys. I'm sure coconut would be like, it would just heighten the coconut milk. Oh my goodness, it'd be great. So I'm gonna add my almond extract, and we're gonna mix that in there and make sure it's well blended. Not that you can see the extract, but when you stir it, it makes you feel better. All right, so this is at half a cup. You're gonna put half a cup of water and the 2 packets of gelatin. Into the water. And you're gonna grab a spoon, whatever utensil, and you're gonna mix it together as well as you can. Mix it all up. It smells so, I've never smelled like gelatin like this. I was like, oh, it smells so different. I wonder how it tastes. Don't do it, don't taste it. It's not worth it. Just wait until it's supposed to do what it's supposed to do in this recipe. So what I'm doing is I have my pot and I had my hot plate over yonder. And so what I'm gonna do is pour my gelatin and water mixture into this pot. And so I'm just stirring real quick. So this like literally takes 5 seconds to do. Make it a little bit more watery, a little bit more clear, not chunky. We don't want a chunky. We don't want a chunky liquid. We don't want applesauce, y'all. We want liquid. So now this is very much so liquidy. And then so what I'm gonna do, because it's supposed to be warm, not like burning hot, I'm gonna pour it into my milk mixture. Scrape that all in. Make sure you turn off your stovetop spatula, and I'm gonna mix that together. Mixing it all together. So this next part, so you have essentially your base. So I'm gonna grab my cherries. So any type of cherries, but make sure you take out the little stem. You do not want to chew on that. But if you want to, and that's what you do, I don't know. But take out the stems, and then you can pour your cherries in there. Cherries are definitely a must. I feel like in every Blan Manje I've ever eaten, it's always in part of that recipe. And then my pineapples, toss that in there. Mix that in there, my pineapples. And then I have my peaches. Toss that in there. You can also cut your peaches small too, whatever you want to do. And then I'm gonna toss in there blueberries. I'm just gonna pour all of that in there actually. I like having strawberries in there. I think strawberries are very yummy. Essentially, any type of fruit you want to go in there, you put in there. Cutting those a little bit small. something I definitely do enjoy about this recipe is that, you know, like kiddos, you know, if you're watching, like you can do this on your own, most likely, with the exception maybe of the stovetop, but you can substitute that with using a microwave. But yeah. And I know some people, instead of having like a jelly-like consistency, or gelatin-like consistency, people will use sour cream instead, and it be used as like, it's more liquidy essentially. And you'll put it in a cup, you can drink it, you can eat it. It's still very good. Either way, it could be more firm or jelly-like, you know. It just really depends on your preference. Or you can just, after you're done doing this, maybe put it in a cup and eat it and drink it, and it's very yummy. But I preferably like to enjoy it in jelly form. I think it's yummy that way. I need your love like I need water. Raspberries in there too. You know why? Because I can and I want to. I put a lot of fruit in here, but that's okay. So this is the consistency of it, like this, and you can cool it, right? And eat it like that, or just eat it the way it is. Or you can toss it in the fridge. The container you can put it in, you could put it in like a baking pan, you know, or whatever, or a bundt cake type of pan, or glass, definitely in a glass. I'm using a mason jar, so I'm gonna pour that in there, making sure that I have enough liquid as much as I do enough fruit. And then it's ready. And then you just cover it up, and then you toss it in the fridge for 4 hours or more, and you're done. Something to know, you can add coconut flakes. Some people toast them, or you can just have them like this. You can put it into the mixture of your Blan Manje, or you can put it on top for serving. So I am actually, this is the one I just made just now. I'm gonna sprinkle some coconut shavings. Thank you so much for joining me in making Blan Manje, aka white food. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video and participating alongside with me. For more classes for all, please definitely do check out our website, www.ymcasf.org, for more classes for all. I hope to see you guys there, and enjoy. Bye.
Did you know that YMCA of San Francisco never closed? When shelter-in-place happened, we could no longer provide in-person programming. We quickly shifted to provide youth and family programming virtually. As early as April, we started providing on-demand activities in our YMCA of San Francisco YouTube channel.
For this video, we're going to be making a geodesic dome.
Today, we're going to be making a hovercraft. The science around this activity is really awesome.
In addition, we have a regular schedule of activities for our youth and families to join live. We feature read-alouds, yoga, family Zumba, arts and crafts, drawing clubs, and more. So don't miss out on our virtual youth and family offerings. Visit www.ymcasf.org for more info and class schedules.